The wedding hall was filled with laughter, music, and shining lights. Guests moved like colorful waves on the dance floor. Every corner was full of life, except one. In that corner sat a woman in a wheelchair, wearing a soft silver dress that caught every sparkle from the chandeliers. Her name was Maya Verma, one of the most successful CEOs in the city. People whispered her name with respect, some with admiration, and some with envy. "She's the one who built her company from nothing," a man said. "Yes," another replied. "But I heard she never married." "Such a shame." Maya smiled politely at those who passed by, but her eyes stayed distant, like she was there, yet far away. She watched couples dancing, friends laughing, and bridesmaids taking selfies. She looked down at her phone, one unread. Message blinked on the screen. It was from an unknown number. "I wish I could be there tonight. You look beautiful." Her fingers froze. She read it again and again, but didn't reply. Her heart whispered old memories she didn't want to remember. Outside, the rain began to fall softly. Inside, the music grew louder. Everyone was celebrating love except her. Maya had arrived early, not because she wanted to, but because she didn't want to make an entrance. She hated the looks people gave her, some filled with pity, others with curiosity. Every wedding she attended reminded her of what she had lost. Her friend the bride had begged her to come. "Please, Maya, you never go anywhere. Just this one night for me." So Maya came. But now, watching the bride dance with her new husband, she felt like an outsider to happiness. Her mind drifted back to another wedding, hers, or what should have been hers, a long time ago. The memory flashed before her like a movie she didn't want to watch. A white dress, a phone call, the sound of rain, and then silence. Her heart beat faster. She blinked, and the memory faded. She forced a smile again, pretending to enjoy the moment. Then, suddenly, a small giggle broke her thoughts. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, stood a few feet away from her. She wore a pink dress and held a half-eaten cupcake. Her big brown eyes were full of innocence. The child pointed at Maya and whispered loudly, "Daddy, she looks like a princess." Maya's eyes widened slightly. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Behind the girl stood a man in a dark suit. He was tall, with kind eyes and a gentle face. His tie was a little crooked, and his hands carried a bit of nervous energy, like he wasn't used to fancy events. He smiled when Maya looked at him. "I'm so sorry," he said softly. "Lily likes to say what's in her heart." Maya gave a small laugh. "That's all right. She's very sweet." The man nodded, looking down at his daughter, then back at Maya. "I'm Ryan," he said simply. "And this little cupcake thief is my daughter." Lily giggled and hid behind him. For the first time that evening, Maya felt a strange warmth, like the ice around her heart had cracked just a little. Ryan looked around the room, then back at her. "You seem a bit bored. Would you maybe like to join us on the dance floor?" Maya almost laughed. "I don't really dance." Ryan smiled, gentle but confident. "Then let's call it rolling. We can still move to the music." She hesitated. The hall was still full of eyes, and she had spent years avoiding attention. But the kindness in his tone was different. It wasn't pity. It was an invitation. For a moment, she looked at his hand, waiting, steady, real. Then she looked at Lily, who was smiling like the whole world was made of joy, and before she knew it, Maya nodded. Ryan grinned. "Then, Miss CEO," he said softly, "will you be my date tonight?" The music slowed. The camera in someone's hand caught the moment a powerful woman in a wheelchair, a single dad, and a little girl smiling between them. Maya's lips curved into a soft smile, the first real one in years. But deep inside her heart, a whisper rose. "Why does this feel like the beginning of something I'm not ready for?" The lights flickered, and the screen faded to black. "To be continued." The music from the wedding echoed faintly in Maya's ears, even after she returned home that night. Her elegant silver dress was still hanging on the chair. The soft scent of perfume still floated in the air. But inside her heart, there was only silence. She couldn't sleep. Ryan's words kept replaying in her mind. "Will you be my date tonight?" She smiled for a second, remembering how Lily had called her a princess. Then, her eyes turned toward the photo frame beside her bed, a younger version of herself, standing tall and confident before the wheelchair. Before everything changed, years ago Maya Verma was not just strong, she was unstoppable. At 25, she was working day and night in a small office, chasing dreams that felt too big for someone like her. Her parents wanted her to take a safe job. She wanted to build something that would change lives. Her company idea was simple: technology that could help people with disabilities live independently. She didn't know then that one day she would become one of those people herself. Maya worked for years, with little sleep and no weekends. People laughed at her ideas, called her foolish. "You think people will invest in you?" One investor had said, "You're too young, too emotional." But she never stopped. Every no she heard became fuel. Her office walls were covered with sticky notes that said things like, "Keep going," and "One day, they'll see." And one day, they did. Her first big project, a smart wheelchair design, caught global attention. She was invited to tech conferences, interviewed on TV, and awarded for innovation. The same investors who once rejected her were now standing in line to work with her. At just 30, she became the CEO of her own company, Vermatech Solutions. Her name appeared on magazine covers, the woman who redefined possibility. Yet behind those headlines, there was another truth. Maya wasn't just building a company. She was hiding from pain. 3 years before her success, she was in love deeply, wildly, beautifully in love. His name was Arjun. He believed in her dreams when no one else did. They planned a life together, a small wedding by the sea, a home filled with laughter. But fate had other plans. One rainy night, after a long meeting, Maya's car skidded off the road. When she woke up, everything had changed. The doctors said she would never walk again. Her parents cried. Her friends tried to stay strong. But Arjun, he couldn't. He visited once, holding her hand in silence. Then, days turned into weeks, and he stopped coming. No message, no goodbye, just gone. Maya never cried in front of anyone. She learned to smile instead, the kind of smile that hides the broken pieces. Her recovery took months. Learning how to move, how to live again, was harder than any business challenge she had ever faced. But she did it. Every morning, she pushed herself, physically, emotionally, mentally. "I can still rise," she told herself. "Even if I rise sitting down," and she did. She became stronger, wiser, sharper. Her company grew. Her name became a symbol of hope, but her heart that stayed locked behind invisible walls. Now, sitting in her quiet apartment years later, she looked out the window at the city lights. She had built an empire, but lost the pieces of her soul along the way. She opened her laptop and scrolled through photos from the wedding, her friends smiling. Ryan laughing, Lily twirling in her pink dress. Something about that father and daughter felt different. Their warmth had touched something she thought was gone forever, for the first time in years. "Right," she whispered softly, "maybe. It's okay to feel again." The next morning, her phone buzzed. A message appeared on the screen. "Hey, it's Ryan. Lily wants to know if the princess will join us for ice cream today." Maya stared at the message for a long moment. Her lips curved into a smile, hesitant but real. Maybe, just maybe, life was giving her another chance to be continued. ... The next afternoon, the sun shone through the glass windows of Maya's office. The city below moved fast, cars rushing, people walking, life moving on. But inside her, time still felt stuck. Her assistant knocked on the door. "Ma'am, your meeting with the investors starts in 10 minutes. Maya nodded. "I'll be there." She closed her laptop. On the screen, Ryan's message still glowed softly. "Lily wants to know if the princess will join us for ice cream today." For the first time in years, she felt something gentle, something almost forgotten. It wasn't love yet. It was peace. A small, quiet feeling that maybe she could still be seen as more than her wheelchair, more than her title. She smiled faintly, then whispered to herself, "Ice cream, huh? Maybe later. The meeting went perfectly. Investors praised her leadership. She spoke with confidence, her voice strong, her eyes sharp. Everyone in the room saw the successful CEO, but no one saw the woman inside who still woke up at night hearing the sound of that crash. That single moment when her world turned upside down. After the meeting, Maya drove home. The city lights blurred through the window as her car moved. She remembered the accident again, not the pain, but what came after. The hospital room, the white walls, the doctor's voice. "I'm sorry, Miss Verma, but you won't be able to walk again," her mother had cried. Her father had turned away, but the only thing Maya remembered clearly was Arjun's silence. He stood at the door, eyes full of something she couldn't name: guilt, fear, or both. He said, "I'll come back tomorrow." He never did. Months later, when she was learning to move in a wheelchair, someone had asked her, "Do you miss your old life?" She had smiled and said no. But deep inside, she missed everything: the way she used to run on the beach, the way rain used to feel when she danced, the way love used to sound when it said her name. That's why she built her empire, not just to prove herself, but to stay busy enough to forget. Yet forgetting never really worked. Pain has a strange way of living quietly inside you, waiting, breathing, whispering. That evening, she sat by her window again, staring at the city skyline. Then her phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello?" she said. A small voice answered. "Hi, it's Lily." Maya blinked in surprise. "Oh, Lily." "Yes," the little girl giggled. "Daddy says you're busy, but I said princesses are never too busy for ice cream." Maya laughed, really laughed, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in years. Then Ryan's voice came through. "Sorry about that. She kind of stole my phone." "It's okay," Maya said softly. "She's very convincing." "So," he continued, half teasing, half shy, "are we getting that ice cream?" Maya hesitated. For years, she had built walls around her heart, tall and unbreakable. But this man, this single dad with a kind smile, wasn't trying to climb over those walls. He was gently knocking, asking for permission to enter. Half an hour later, she found herself sitting in a small park near the lake. Ryan was beside her, Lily running in circles with her ice cream dripping down her hands. The evening breeze brushed against Maya's face. She felt normal. Not a CEO, not a symbol of strength, just a woman, breathing, smiling, living. Ryan glanced at her and said quietly, "You know, I've read about you in magazines, but I didn't know you could laugh like this." Maya blushed slightly. "Maybe you're seeing a side even I forgot." He smiled. "That's a good thing. Sometimes we all need someone to remind us who we were before life got hard." His words sank deep into her heart. For the first time, she didn't push the feeling away. When she got home that night, she looked at herself in the mirror. For years, she saw only the wheelchair. But tonight, she saw something new. Hope. And behind that hope, she saw pain too. Still there, still real, but no longer alone. The next few days passed quietly, but something inside Maya had changed. Her mornings didn't feel so heavy anymore. When she opened her laptop, she didn't just see numbers and meetings. She saw life outside her office. Sunlight, laughter, past, and that small smile on Lily's face. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped a little. It wasn't the usual business calls she waited for anymore. It was the message she secretly hoped to see. "Hey, the princess up for coffee?" Or Lily's short texts. "Miss Maya, Daddy burned the pancakes again." Those small, funny messages became her favorite part of the day. One evening, Ryan invited her to another wedding, his cousin's. At first she laughed. "Another wedding? Haven't I had enough of those?" Ryan grinned. "This one will be different. Less fancy, more fun. Lily made me promise to invite you." Maya hesitated for a moment, then smiled. "All right," but only because Lily asked. The night of the wedding came. It was an open-air event, fairy lights hanging from trees, soft music in the background, children running with flowers in their hair. Maya arrived in a light blue gown, simple yet graceful. Her hair was tied neatly, and her wheelchair shimmered under the lights, decorated with small white flowers that Lily had stuck on earlier. When Ryan saw her, he froze for a second. She looked breathtaking, confident, elegant, and at peace. "You look," he began. "Like a princess," she teased. He laughed. "Exactly like one." During the ceremony, Maya sat beside Ryan and Lily. Lily kept whispering questions. "Do you think the bride's dress is itchy? Why is everyone crying?" Maya giggled quietly, whispering back each time. Ryan watched them both with soft eyes. It felt strange but beautiful, seeing how easily Maya fit into their small world. There was no effort, no pretending. She was just herself. Later, when the music started, Ryan turned to her. "Dance time again," he said. Maya rolled her eyes. "You know I can't dance." "Correction," he said with a smile. "You can differently." He pushed his chair back and offered his hand. The lights above flickered softly as he guided her toward the dance area. People moved aside, curious but kind. And then right there, Ryan started moving with her. Slow, gentle. In rhythm with the music, Maya's chair turned slightly as his hand rested lightly on hers. For the first time in years, she didn't care who was watching. She laughed, really laughed, as Lily clapped and shouted, "Daddy and the princess are dancing." The moment felt unreal, simple, pure, free. After the dance, they sat near the lake behind the venue. The moonlight shimmered on the water. Ryan spoke quietly. "I lost my wife 4 years ago. Cancer." Maya turned to look at him. His eyes didn't hold sadness. They held honesty. "I promised myself I wouldn't open up again," he continued. But then Lily started asking why other kids had moms. I didn't know what to say. Maya nodded, her throat tight. "I know that kind of silence. When you want to explain something your heart doesn't understand either." Ryan looked at her. "You've been through a lot too, haven't you?" She smiled faintly. "We all have our scars. Mine just roll on wheels." They both laughed softly, but the laughter had warmth, like healing beginning quietly in the background. As the night ended, Lily fell asleep in Ryan's arms. Maya watched the little girl's peaceful face and whispered, "She's lucky to have you." "No, I'm lucky to have her. She reminds me every day that love can start again, even after it's broken." Maya looked at him for a long moment. His kindness, his calmness, the way he looked at life without bitterness. When she got home that night, she didn't feel lonely. She felt alive, and as she looked at her reflection, she whispered, "Maybe love isn't gone. Maybe it's just been waiting for me to believe again." The next morning felt different for Maya. The sunlight that touched her face didn't feel harsh anymore. It felt gentle, alive. For years, her days began with meeting reminders and conference calls. But today, her first thought wasn't about work. It was about Ryan. In Lily's sleepy giggle echoing in her mind, she reached for her phone before she could stop herself. No message yet. For a moment, she smiled at her own impatience. Then almost instantly, her phone buzzed. It was a photo from Ryan. Lily, wearing her school uniform, was grinning with a chocolate mustache. The caption read, "She says this is how princesses eat breakfast." Maya laughed out loud. She couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed like that, freely, without thinking. That evening, she agreed to meet them again, just for coffee, she told herself. But when she arrived at the small cafe near the park, Ryan had already ordered her favorite drink. "How do you know I like cappuccino?" she asked playfully. He smiled. "I read one of your interviews once. You said coffee is your first love?" She blushed slightly. "You really did your research," shrugged. "Maybe I just wanted to know the real you, not the CEO everyone talks about." His words were simple, but they hit deep. No one had asked about the real Maya in years. Everyone saw her as a success story, not as a person who still dreamed, laughed, or needed someone to just sit beside her. They talked for hours, not about business or pain, but about life. Ryan told her how Lily wanted to be a superhero. Maya told him how she still collected books she never had time to read. He shared funny stories from parent-teacher meetings, and she teased him for being a cool dad. The cafe lights dimmed as the evening turned soft and golden. When she looked at him, she realized something surprising. She wasn't afraid. Her heart wasn't racing in panic, like it used to when someone got close. It was calm, steady, curious. Later, Ryan walked her to her car. Before she could thank him, he said, "You know, you're easy to talk to." She raised an eyebrow. "Really? I've been told I scare people?" He laughed. "Maybe the CEO does. But you, the woman who laughs at bad coffee and listens to old songs, she's not scary at all." Maya smiled. "You're strange, Ryan." "Maybe," he said softly, "but I think strange meets strange for a reason." Days passed, and what started as coffee turned into park walks, movie nights, and silly text messages that lasted till midnight. Lily would often join their calls, making faces at the camera, calling Maya her queen of ice cream. Each day, Maya felt lighter. The walls she had built around her heart, walls of fear, pride, and pain, began to crumble. One night, as they sat on a park bench watching Lily chase fireflies, Ryan turned to her. "Maya, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you ever wish things had gone differently?" She thought for a long moment. The question dug deep into the part of her she usually kept locked away. Finally, she said quietly, I used to wish the accident never happened. I used to wish I could walk again. I used to wish the person I loved hadn't left." Ryan listened without a word. Then she smiled faintly. "But now, I think, if none of that happened, I might have never met you and Lily." Ryan's eyes softened. "Life breaks us, Maya. But sometimes the broken pieces fit together to make something stronger." For a moment, silence hung between them, not heavy, but peaceful. The wind carried the laughter of children, and somewhere in the distance, a slow song played. Ryan gently reached for her hand. "You've spent so long being everyone's hero," he said. "Let someone be yours too." Maya didn't pull away. For the first time in years, she let herself feel safe, not because she was strong, but because someone finally saw her heart, not her wheelchair. That night, as she lay in bed, she whispered to herself, "Maybe this is what healing feels like, quiet, gentle, and real." She didn't know where this connection would lead, but for the first time in forever, she was ready to find out. It had been 3 months since that night in the park. The world hadn't changed, but Maya had. Her mornings now began with laughter, sometimes from her phone, sometimes from her heart. Lily would video call her before school, showing off her messy hair or missing socks. Ryan would text her photos of burnt pancakes or coffee mugs shaped like hearts. The one silent apartment was now filled with messages, memories, and meaning. Maya had spent years building an empire. Now, she was learning to build something far rarer, a life. One Saturday morning, Ryan invited her and a few of his friends for a picnic. Maya almost said no, out of habit. Crowds still made her anxious. But then Lily appeared on the video call, holding up a hand-painted sign that said, "Please say yes, princess." Maya laughed. How can I say no to that? When she arrived, the park was full of light, children running, families laughing, and Ryan setting up a blanket under a big oak tree. He looked up, waved, and said, "You made it." "I promised Lily I would," she replied, smiling. Lily ran toward her with open arms. "You came." "Daddy said maybe you'd be busy?" Maya hugged her back. "For you, I'll never be too busy." The day passed beautifully. They ate sandwiches, played cards, and talked about everything from work to silly jokes. At one point, Ryan's friends started teasing him. "So this is the famous Maya Verma? The woman who scared the stock market last year?" Maya laughed. "That was business, not war." Ryan chuckled. "Trust me, they're scared of every strong woman they meet." Maya smiled softly. "Good, they should be." Everyone laughed, and for once, Maya didn't feel like she was on display. She felt like she belonged. As the afternoon sun turned gold, Ryan and Maya walked a little away from the group. Lily was busy feeding ducks by the pond. Ryan looked at Maya for a long moment before saying, "You've changed, you know?" "Changed?" she asked. "Yes. When I first met you, you looked like someone who had locked her heart away. Now it feels open again." She looked at the water, watching her reflection ripple. Maybe I just needed someone to remind me that I'm still human. Not a headline, not a story, just a person. Ryan nodded, and a pretty amazing one at that. Maya smiled but said nothing. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was warm, full of understanding. That evening, as they packed up, a light drizzle began to fall. People ran for cover, laughing. Lily held out her hands to catch the raindrops. "Daddy, it's raining!" Ryan looked at Maya. She was laughing too, her hair damp, her eyes shining. "Do you want to go?" he asked. She shook her head. "No, I used to love the rain. I stopped after the accident." He looked at her softly. "Then maybe it's time to love it again." Without thinking, he stepped behind her, pushing her chair gently through the grass. They moved slowly under the falling rain, just like the night they first met. Only this time, she wasn't alone. Lily danced around them, spinning, singing loudly. And Maya, for the first time since that terrible night years ago, lifted her face to the sky and let the rain touch her skin. Her laughter echoed through the park, soft but free. Later, when they reached Ryan's car, Lily climbed onto Maya's lap and hugged her tightly. "Can you be our family, princess?" she whispered sleepily. Maya froze, her eyes filling with tears. She looked at Ryan. He didn't speak, just smiled. The kind of smile that said everything without words. Maya kissed Lily's forehead. "I think I already am." Ryan reached out and held Maya's hand. No promises. No rush, just presence. That night, Maya wrote in her journal for the first time in years. Once, "I thought the wheelchair took away my freedom, but it led me to people who taught me how to live again. Love doesn't always arrive walking. Sometimes it rolls gently toward you." She closed the notebook, whispering, "Thank you, life, for giving me a second chance." Outside her window, rain fell softly, but this time it didn't sound sad. It sounded like hope.